One note is weird. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I have a small one, a baby one, in my room, but it doesn't have It's a nice small one. Just gonna unplug it and it'll be okay. Beautiful. So thank you everyone for coming. Today we'd like to, we're thanking Srutisagara Prabhu for joining us and giving class today. He's a disciple, like I mentioned, of the person who you saw 2 weeks ago, Kalakanta. And yeah, he's traveled in various different communities, doing preaching, prasadam distribution, leadership, and he was most recently at a 1-week training here on becoming a responsible or embracing responsible leadership and what that means, and spiritual leadership for others. And so we're really excited to have him. He's sort of, older individuals like Brahmatirtha, Kalakanta, all of these great souls, they have to pass a baton or pass a torch on to like a next generation to give shelter to others. And so we're really excited because Srutisagara is really a very, That's enough. No. I have one more thing I want to say. He's a very deep soul, yet at the same time he's very relatable. And this is exactly what at least the movement of the world needs. Not just deep, but very relatable. And so we're excited to have him here today. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Yeah, so my name is Shruti. And I was thinking maybe we can just go around, I know most people, maybe. Actually, yeah, if you could just go around and say everyone's name and kind of what brings you to the BI.
My name is Anna. I live in Ocala. I am a seeker of consciousness, of spirit, and the question of there's got to be more.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for having us today.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
My name is Bill. I'm married to that one. And we have a farm in Ocala, and spirituality's been a lifelong quest for me.
Thank you. Thanks, Ben. Thanks for being here.
My name is Dario Brahmadas, and I'm kind of retired, unfortunately, but still interested in this. And he took over after me from preaching furniture, the Krishna House. And so now I just visit when I can and try to help with this new center here.
Thanks.
My name is Kaylee Niketana. You can call me Kaylee, and I'm a disciple of Hridayananda, who helped start this center, and I just want to be able to serve here how I can. It's mission. Thank you.
I am Mr. Krishna Prasad. I live in Fruit Line Park, and I'm a disciple of Hridayananda Maharaj.
You said your name is Krishna Prasad?
Shri
Shri
Krishna
Krishna
Prasad,
Prasad.
yeah.
That's a beautiful name.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
I'm Surya Radhika.
Yeah, what brings you here?
Marriage. You brought me here. Originally from Iran. Yeah, and now here. It's Krishna's grace.
Go, Cheryl.
So my name is Sarah.
Yeah.
I live here, but I'm here to learn. I want to go deeper.
Yeah, so the topic for today we chose was, we were revolving around the topic of revolution, and then we thought, let's settle on real versus fake change. So I thought, okay, we can maybe discuss on that. And yeah, there's that old saying, that change is the only constant in this world.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Obama's slogan, right? The first time we ran,
I think Buddha said that too.
Oh, Buddha said that too, yeah. Yeah, it's been around. But yeah, I think his first one was change. Obama's, and then hope, I think, or maybe not. But for change was there somewhere. Yeah. But that's something often that riles people up. We need to change. change in the system. We need to change in whatever it is that people think needs to be changed. And every new generation comes, and oftentimes the first thing, we got to change everything. These people don't know what they're doing. That's often a constant thing. But yeah, but real versus fake change or superficial change. Well, actually, I was discussing it with my wife, and she pointed out a good question. She said, "Well, why is change needed? You know, what do you think? Why is change needed often in this world, or maybe not needed? Or maybe some things need to be changed, some things not so much. What do you all think? What is how does it normally arise, like this need for change within ourselves or outside or in the broader realm?"
Dissatisfaction.
Yeah, that's a common one. Yeah, just dissatisfied with how things are.
Internally or externally.
Yeah, or internally, externally. What else?
Not working the way it should be.
Yeah, not working the way it should be. Yeah.
For someone.
Yeah, for somebody. Yeah, sometimes things are working for us, but they're not working for anybody else around us. So, or vice versa. Yeah, things are working for others, but not working for us. So yeah. What else? What is oftentimes the cause for change?
Improvements.
Yeah, improving something. Yeah. Internally or externally. Yeah. Anything else? Any other reasons, common reasons for change? Is it dissatisfaction? What was yours again, Jill? You said
Just that.
that's
No, I
something.
can't.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Not change is not for everyone. I know that. Change is needed, but also change is needed for cost-saving measures.
Yeah,
for
sure.
saving something.
Something, yeah.
As you said, for the good.
Yeah, for the like something's not working, it needs
Improvement.
to be changed. Yeah. Any other?
And I think if you look at the last 100 years, technology has evolved so fast. I don't know if society and traditions have kept up with it.
Yeah. A lot of growth in just in 100 years. Yeah, like 100 years ago was 1926, and so much different now. Yeah, that's right.
Stock market crash.
Yeah.
Prohibition.
Yeah, prohibition was there.
Women's rights.
Yeah. That's a huge change. Women's rights over the years. Yeah.
But even the knowledge we have of the universe, I mean,
Yeah.
we had no idea what was out there, and now we know there's billions and billions of universes just like ours.
Yeah, about 100 years ago, I believe, not a physicist, but all the physicists were debating theories, I believe. I don't remember the names now. I remember studying it. How's that?
No, sorry, go ahead.
All different physicists were discussing theories, like this is how an atom looked, or this, it was that phase. And Einstein was around back then. I saw a book of him student over here. He was around, all kinds of theories, and that was like the thing to do. I mean, there's still so much research and theories being put out there, but that was like they're trying to figure out what is this wall, what's at the atomic level, and they're figuring all that out 100 years ago. And now things are more figured out, or sometimes like they figure things out, and then they have to go back a bit, and then okay, we figured something else out. But so much has changed in the world of science, and of course now, with AI, more change to come. Any other reasons for change? But it's true. It's like sometimes it's in due course of time. It's like change is almost, what's the word? Inevitable. How do you pronounce it? Yeah. It just happens of its own accord, And as Bill mentioned, sometimes the society just has to keep up with it, keep up with the changes that are coming out of its own, or because of others, or just the world changing, or even Earth changes, nature changes, climate changes. That's debatable. Well, these days, there's a lot of debate around that. But it's the climate changing. But everything around us changes. And so, for us, in our practice of spirituality, practice of bhakti, a lot of focus is on internal, what kind of changes do we want to make in our lives or in ourselves, or how do we want to grow and so forth. so yeah, this idea of, you know, real versus fake change. And yeah, I was just thinking about, so that's the need of change. And then the next question was going to be like, can people really change? Yeah, you all have been around, you've seen the world, you've seen people. Can people really change? What do you all think?
They can if they want to.
They can if they want to. Yeah, people can change.
They cannot change people.
What was that?
You cannot change
Yeah, you
people.
cannot
They
change
should
people.
do want it themselves.
We've been married 6 months and we're just learning this lesson. Surya speaks from deep realization.
Start off in the beginning, the whole rest easy.
Yeah, change. Yeah, change can happen for sure. What else? Any other thoughts on can people change? How can they change? You know, or what's the proof someone's really changed?
In my experience, I have I always want to become better. I want to become more, develop a higher consciousness, and I have only really been able to through prayer and developing a relationship with Krishna and the devotees.
Yeah.
Never worked any other way. Yeah.
Yeah, if you were just with sheer determination, you felt that
Yeah.
you'd really bring about the change that you wanted to. But yeah.
But real, deep, internal
Yeah.
change has only ever been possible in my life with Krishna's grace.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Somehow, sometimes the life make people change.
Mm,
The force, like the laws of nature and karma, and they make it, they force society and the people to change.
yeah, that's true. My guru often says, I don't know if he says it often, actually maybe one of my other mentors, but anyways, one of them says it like, life makes you humble, don't worry.
Yeah.
Life will humble you, and that's a real change that happens in our heart and mind. Yeah, so
Brahmatita was telling, somebody brought here to meet my spiritual master. And he was asking a lot of questions. We went to dinner, he was asking a lot of questions. And Brahmatita saying, it's not really that important. Just try to be a devotee. Everything will,
it'll happen.
you come out.
Yeah, I was thinking, one time I had an argument with my mother, and I was talking to my dad about it. And I told my dad, and I said, I'm an adult now, and I want to live with some dignity. She can't talk to me. And my dad said, I've been married to a mother 35 years. I lost my dignity 35 years ago. It was just funny. Just something he said made me think of that. Yeah, change, It's like, I don't know what made me think of it, but there has to be change. Life, humility, that's what I was
So
thinking.
you've been married 6 months?
I've been married 6 months.
You lost your dignity 6 months
ago.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's just chipping away. You still got 6 more months, 1 year. But that was just funny. My dad said that. We both burst out laughing. And he just made it more real. Calm down.
Change is also compromise.
Yeah. Sometimes that's another aspect of change, that you compromise and you work with other people, you grow together.
Right, that's for the masses. Where does change begin? Does it start individually, or does one person make change for the masses?
Yeah.
Which comes first, the
Which
chicken
comes
or the
first?
egg?
Yeah, it's true. That's a good question, actually.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you have some thoughts on it?
But true change doesn't occur until people have an actual paradigm shift.
Yeah.
I mean, something
Exactly.
radical has to happen to make them change.
What do you paradigm shift? You mean like internally or externally or both, or what do you?
It could be either one. It could be a divorce. It could be loss of a job. It could be a death in the family. But normally, some form of paradigm shift comes, and they say, "I no longer can act the way I act, or my perception obviously is distorted."
Yeah, it's like everybody has to was the rock bottom, or hit the rock bottom, and it's different for different people. Yeah, I was yeah, in AA often, right, that's often discussed, like people go there and in Alcoholics Anonymous, like people want to grow and change, right? And mentors, they really have to just tell them, like, you're not ready. Sometimes people aren't ready. Like, you really have to hit your rock bottom. And that's different, of course, for everybody. It's different in different circumstances, and the things you're saying, divorce, or whatever else that happens in our lives, all kinds of stuff happens in this world. And yeah, then it can really spark change, something really that, a paradigm shift externally, yeah. What about internally? Can there be some things that can really bring about change that can be, maybe a mix or internal? What was that?
Knowledge.
Knowledge,
When
yeah.
you develop knowledge,
Yeah.
you try to understand who you really are.
Yeah. Yeah, oftentimes revolutions, as our original topic discussed, revolutions, like, they often happen because of books. Back in the day, 100 years ago, right?
Or ideas,
What was that? I mean, a terrible example was Mein Kampf, that's Hitler's
Mein
book,
Kampf.
right? He wrote it in prison, and it's just a book, but it brought about, just somehow riled people up. What's a positive example? There are books out there, I know, 100 years ago that were positive and brought about positive revolutions also.
But our perception of the universe limits what we see and respond to.
Yeah.
We were in Peru years ago, and I was talking to an indigenous person, and he said when the Spaniards landed, they had no concept of a ship. So the ships were on the horizon, but they didn't see them because there was no reality for them where ships existed. There was just ocean.
I see, yeah.
And so our perceptions are limited by our senses. And we have to realize that there's more going on out there than we can begin to perceive.
Yeah. So you're saying sometimes just, the perception might not be enough, right? We might even get some knowledge, but might not have the tools to process it.
And we have to realize our perceptions can be distorted through past experiences in our lives, or karma, or whatever.
Yeah, the Gita talks about, the senses are, in a sense, very flawed. Right?
Very limited.
Very limited, at least, at the least limited. There's the sound range that we can only hear. For humans, there's only a certain amount of wavelength we can hear. Dogs can hear more. And even, is it for the eyesight also? Certain, right, beyond a certain wavelength. The eyes can't see the light, and infrared, we can't see that, so it's there. The senses are limited, and our past experiences, as you said, they really shape our biases. We have all kinds of biases, each one of us, right? And so sometimes, even when we come across knowledge, our biases can really make us in a way that we're not able to either understand it or really feel the effects of it, right? But then sometimes then we need, and that's how the universe works. Sometimes, so first it sends you a message. Like oftentimes can be in shape of knowledge or somebody telling you something, and hopefully, if our senses aren't working against us, we are able to listen. We're able to tap into that knowledge. But if we're not able to, then the universe sends an experience. All right. Let's see. Let's give you an experience so that maybe you can tap into the knowledge that the universe sent earlier. So Oh, actually no. Before, sorry, I missed one. So first you get knowledge, right? And the second one, it sends an experience around you. Maybe you can see it externally at least. Okay. I tried to send you a message, you didn't get it, you didn't get the mail. All right, look around you. This was the message in real life. See it, and then doesn't quite. Okay, if that doesn't work, the universe is like, all right, I'll have to make you experience it. Okay, we go through a lot of stuff, right? And then hopefully we really get the message. And then, at least with me, I don't get and my wife will tell all of you, I don't get the message even when I experience it. So then it has to be repeated.
So why does the experience have to be repeated, in your opinion?
And why does it have to we repeat it. The way in my opinion, well, according to the Bhakti text also, the way this whole material world the universe is set up is that we have so many lessons and things to grow in. And so it's like unless it just really sinks in for that ultimate paradigm shift of really realizing who we are. It's all a journey towards that. And unless that happens, it's like the samsara, the cycle keeps going on smaller, bigger.
So we have experiences, but all that really matters is what our reaction is to them.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
Exactly.
Viktor Frankl's great epiphany.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know who Viktor Frankl was, but he was a Jew that found himself in Auschwitz. And he was a psychiatrist under Carl Jung. And he was going to the death chamber. And he saw a rotten fish head in the soup for his last meal. And he saw beauty in the fish head.
Wow.
And he had this epiphany that I can't be hurt. My arm could be cut off, this body could be killed, but I could never die.
Yeah.
And he said, I taught it for years, but I never walked the walk. And so he said, I'm in Auschwitz, but I have a smile on my face. It's not the experience, it's your reaction to it.
And that's like the harshest place one can be in.
Knowing you're going to die the next day. Yes.
Yeah, his reaction. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, our reaction to those experiences that's coming along is really what defines us and can really push us for change or growth. Right? Yeah. So that's what real growth or change is. Right? Yeah, we can change our jobs, we can change our place of residence, we can change so many external things in our lives, and oftentimes we do that because we hope that something internally also changes. But it might or it might not. Sometimes, where you live does make a difference. But oftentimes, we're just in different places with different people, but then can be the same or similar problems or similar issues that come up. And so change that, Bill was pointing out, we really have to, the way we react to those experiences is what really brings about real growth and change. Yeah. What else? Any other thoughts on change so far? Reflections? Yes, bro.
It sounds like you have it sounds a little bit like what you're saying is that we come into this life almost with our lesson plan, our curriculum, and we will be gently to more and more assertively or aggressively try to give us the opportunity to learn the lessons that we're intended to learn. And so go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
So I'm curious if change is, if we have free will in that change, where our free will lies in how much change happens for ourselves, within ourselves. If it's just the lessons that we have to be open to receive to change, or if we can actually endeavor for change independently from those lessons.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of free will in the reaction, what Bill was saying. There's a lot of free will in It's time for change. I'm sorry, bro.
Car died on the way here.
Oh, no way. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's why. Anyway.
And here you are.
Change just walked in.
Change just
We're talking about change. Yeah.
Time to change your car.
Time to change your car.
Maybe.
Yeah, you got the hype.
Change the part.
Yeah, something needs to change.
A car like me is old.
Yeah, Sarah was asking, if life just gives us lessons, right? And then do we just have to keep learning the lessons and that's it, or can we effect some more change
Outside of those lessons.
outside of those lessons? Yeah, I mean, I would think, there's all kinds of change we can effect ourselves also. yeah, and not just be, yeah, in this classroom where you just keep getting lessons. Yeah, I would think personally, yeah, it's like, if you really want to evolve and grow, it's unlimited. The scope is just unlimited because the soul is, I think Bill was pointing out, right? You're pointing out how the body, yeah, you're quoting Viktor Frankl, yeah, the body can be cut and so forth. Yeah, it made me think of the Bhagavad Gita where it says that famous verse, that the soul cannot be burned, can't be wet by water, can't be destroyed. It's always there, right? Chindanti Shastrani, and no weapon can cut it. Yeah, it's like the soul's untouched. Nothing can really. Actually, there was that forest fire when that was happening around here, and we were sitting home and we could see the smoke and this was our first, was it?
We could smell it.
This was, I think, for both of us, it was our first experience of something like that. And we're looking at the map like, all right, there's fire around us. And for a moment, we were both like, yeah, I guess the house, in theory at least, or it could burn down. We see the smoke, smell it.
Yeah.
And it just made me think of that, of the text from the Gita. Yeah, how we associate with so many of the things that we have. And of course, this body, but fire can consume it. But it can't really touch me. Just to that point, what Viktor Frankl was saying, and the Gita shares that, yeah.
Can I go back to something Sarah said? If an experience happens to us, and if our reaction is appropriate, okay, wouldn't our entire reality shift and change?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
The whole lessons the curriculum will change.
Will change. Yeah, things are.
I would think the whole curriculum will change, the whole
Yeah.
lessons will change, the whole shift will happen.
Yeah.
I think that's why we want change inside us. Because if we change it, then we don't have to go through all of that.
Yeah.
That class, the class is graduated.
Yes.
But
Don't
if
worry
we-
about the other lessons as part of the
But
class.
if we don't act appropriately, we keep getting that lesson.
Yeah, again and again.
That's it,
Yeah.
yes.
And that's how the universe works. It kind of repeats. But if we do get the point, or sometimes we just want a better life, and then we work on it on our own, and the universe is like, all right, you're graduating much faster, and the curriculum changes. Everything is so dynamic. It's the way everything is. It's not. Prabhupada, founder of the Hare Krishna movement, he often talks about personalism versus impersonalism. The impersonalist approach would be, which we often, at least in India, we saw it in an educational curriculum, like, oh, you gotta do this, it doesn't matter, nothing else matters, you gotta pass this, and that's it. But a personalist approach, which is more so the universe's approach, is very dynamic, right? So what Bill was saying, once we learn our lesson or we've grown, the curriculum also just evolves. Just so much, life is so much more dynamic when we look at it that way, right? Yeah, so much more. We were just meeting Surya's Guru, Bhaktivedanta Guru was there in upstate New York. Our Guru was talking about the poetic version of reality. How when we look at the world through a whole different poetic lens, then it's so much more different. The same things can look so much more different, and we can get so much more lessons. That was the term we used, poetic. Yeah.
When you say poetic, you mean just like with knowledge, with like.
Yeah. Well, how would you explain it? It wasn't just like
it was
poetry, but
it was about the Queen Kunti's prayer. That was like, I just pray for more distress because it makes me closer to Krishna, and then it was like, how can our reality be like that? It's like so poetic. You should have that lens to be able to see the world that way, and then when you see it that way, everything is different. So,
and just it
yeah.
was like a whole retreat on it. So, yeah. But that vision. And that vision can really change by, through knowledge or through being with people who are on a similar path of spiritual growth, right? And specifically, when Prabhupada came to the West, he translated these ancient texts called the Srimad Bhagavatam. And these texts, this specific verse always that stuck to me. There's this famous verse that talks about a revolution in one's heart. And so, Tadvag Visarga Janataga Viplava. Viplava means revolution. So this ancient text, it's about 5,000 years ago, it was written down, and it talks about revolution in consciousness in people's hearts. And it was in Sanskrit for about 5,000 years. And of course, Indians, and they studied it in India, and the sages, and they would study the first translation. Well, I wouldn't say maybe the first English translation, maybe necessarily, but the one that did make it to America was Prabhupada's translation, and he was sharing it with others, and just that act of his translating it and bringing it, that caused a revolution in people's lives and people's hearts. So all this knowledge that we have in the Bhakti tradition, a lot of it comes from that book, the Bhagavatam, and just through that knowledge. And it's amazing because those books, and they oftentimes when we share our realizations, right? And so that's what really is. The book is full of realizations of learned people and their shared experiences, and they're sharing how they have grown in their lives. How, the whole book is about actually different experiences that different people have gone through, and how the lessons they've taken, how they have changed their lives, how they've grown. And just by reading that, it actually can affect a change in our lives. A lot of us, I think, read those books and we can feel it. And of course, there's other books also. It was an interesting side note. Someone mentioned to Prabhupada Joan of Arc, that story, and Prabhupada said, "It's in the Bhagavatam." And they were like, "What do you mean it's the Bhagavatam?" And he said, "Yeah, it's Bhagavatam because it's glorifying a great person, someone who's a spiritual seeker." So it's a dynamic thing, This text that we have, it's a 12-volume book, but it's dynamic. From Prabhupada's perspective, it was dynamic. So anything that we see in this world that really helps us, pushes us spiritually, it's Bhagavatam, it's glorifying God, it's glorifying the universe. So these texts that talk about how people have grown in their lives and grown spiritually, when we hear about that and really discuss it and what lessons they've gotten, what lessons we have, reflections on it, then we really grow. And that's why we all here in this setting. And so that particular verse was about just how so it was a teacher actually, Narada Muni was speaking to his disciple, Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva was this prolific author, and he's just compiled all the Vedic texts, and he's compiled everything, and yet he was sad, and he was despondent. He just felt like, but this is not enough. There's something is missing. He just wasn't sure why he was depressed actually. That's what the Bhagavatam talks about. He was just depressed. And so at that point his teacher showed up, Narada, and Narada just clearly told him, you haven't really fully explained how one can get God realization, how one can get service to God actually. He said, that's the piece that's been missing in all these texts that you've written. And and then he told him that this literature that you'll write the Bhagavatam, this literature will glorify God and glorify service to others and to God. And to this consciousness, then one will really have a revolution in their hearts. And so that's why when we really get in touch with these kind of texts, and it could be again in any tradition. It's not we have a specific tradition, but in any tradition, any text, be it ancient or even modern, that really push us to grow internally ourselves, that really push us to serve others, to serve God. Any of those texts that can really bring a revolution in our consciousness. And this was the Bhagavatam it's our traditional book that really helps each one of us. Each one of us have read the Bhagavatam at any point and feel like, especially when we are doing any kind of service, when you do physical service and when you do internal service, when you go hand in hand, it just really changes the heart. And so when you do that, when you read those texts, then just, this knowledge just flows in one's heart. So yeah, with the Bhagavatam, it just can bring about a revolution in one's heart. I was reading a reflection by one of Prabhupada's disciples, Kumar, and he was pointing it out, that this text was in India for so long. And when Prabhupada brought it to the West, that was like that was the revolution that was sitting in those texts for so many years. And I just appreciated that point. Like, yeah, it's true. I never thought about it that way. When he translated in English and brought it here, and so yeah, we can also cause our revolutions in our hearts and internally and externally by growing ourselves and sharing that with others, sharing our experiences, sharing our realizations, and that's what the world really needs. Yeah, there can be so many changes. The government can change. A regime in Iran can fall or not fall. So many things can happen in this world. Some things are good, some things are bad. But yeah, what it really needs is this, for each one of us to grow internally and then be able to share that with others, and react in ways that we get the lessons and the curriculum changes, and then share that with others, our experiences and so forth. That's the whole Bhagavatam, actually. Yeah. Any other thoughts on change? Yeah.
The lecture's supposed to be differentiating faith
Oh yeah,
from
real faith.
So how do you differentiate faith from real?
Well, yeah. I was reflecting on how real change is when one really realizes their identity of who we really are and what is our purpose. That is what brings about a real change in our lives. Be it, in our behavior, then it starts showing up in our, externally. So that would be a real change, a real transformation. Yes.
But when you're reading or hearing something, how do you differentiate it's fake news or this is real? How do you do that?
How does one do that? Yeah, what do you think? How do you do it?
If it resonates with me, if I feel inside, this is my truth, then it's my truth. If it doesn't resonate with me, it's not my truth.
Yeah, it's often the scientific process. You hear something, there's a theory, right? There's a theory out there, a hypothesis, right? You try it out, or analyze it, and if it works, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Yeah, in the bhakti process also, Prabhupada often talked about it. Like, it's all, in a sense, it's a hypothesis. Chant Hare Krishna, you will be happy. So you try it out, or there's so many other hypotheses in our books. It's all up to just experimenting and trying it out and see what works really. Does it make an impact? Does it make a change?
My question is, we are limited, and our feelings are also limited, and our hearts might be even filled with anarthas or some unwanted things that might cover, and our ego is there. So how can just feeling or experiencing be helpful?
Yeah, and even we were talking about senses earlier, right? Yeah, our senses can be misleading. So how could that be actually? If you just hear something and based on our senses, just say senses, that's the easiest thing to be fooled. And based on our senses, like, nah, this does not sound right. But it could be right. So what do we do?
Sometimes it's our sixth sense or the intuition.
Intuition also.
That understand, but sometimes we cannot differentiate between the sound of our mind and sound of our intuition.
That's a good question. How do we differentiate between the sound of our mind or the noise sometimes that's in there versus genuine intuition? Yeah.
Time. You just need time for it to process,
Yeah.
evolve,
That's true.
to make the change in a positive way.
Yeah, sometimes you just need some time.
You know, because when he's on the internet, I'm like, well, what's the source? Where did you read that? You know, is it trusted? Is, you know,
Yeah.
how do you know whether it's trusted?
Mhm.
It's this big circle, and intuition has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Does it resonate?
Mhm.
Sometimes for me, the best way to learn truth is getting a group of people such as this,
Yeah.
who have much different perspectives, but you respect their perspective, and when they observe the world completely differently than you do, it makes you reflect, are my filters distorting my perception?
Yeah.
And at times, they'll say something that resonates with you, and you'll say, wow, it's a perspective I simply didn't see up till now.
Yeah, yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Because we have filters that we
Yeah.
can't help, that don't allow us to see things clearly.
Yeah, yeah. There are all kinds of filters.
I think that's why we really need guru or someone who has really realized it and seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That self-realized people get.
Yeah, the point's a very important point that actually comes out in the Gita in a very special way. And the Gita summarizes 3 filters. And one filter is considered ignorance, where you just, it's a very bad filter. And it filters, it takes in all the noise and leaves out the signal. And the other filter in the middle kind of lets in some of it. And the best filter, which is often called goodness, takes out the noise, signal-noise ratio, and gets it in. So it's a very important point in the Gita. In fact, Gita spends a few chapters discussing how to fine-tune your filter, so that
How to
you
cleanse your
actually
filter.
see things in what's that?
How to cleanse your filter.
How to see things liberally. So, because if we have a filter that's in the middle section, we're very judgmental. With a filter in the bottom one, we're just stupid. I mean,
It's a vast majority of society.
it is. Stupid is, stupid does, is what I see. And if you have the filter in the topmost, which is, something we strive for, then you're not only not judgmental, but you see the good everywhere. And there's a wonderful, wonderful section which Mickey loves in the Uddhava Gita. Mickey recites that every week. And it's from the 11th part of the Bhagavatam set. And in the Uddhava Gita, there's this guy, he's called an avaduta, which means he has no rules or regulations, just wanders around, whatever. So he learns this avaduta. It's one of the key lessons, and one of Mickey's favorites, but one of my favorites too, is he learns from everyone he sees. So he sees a python. He says, Python just sits there waiting for the meal, opens his mouth, and eventually the meal walks in. Maybe that's how I should be. And he sees a pigeon, and the hunter's out, and the hunter catches the pigeon and the pigeon children, and the husband pigeon sees it, and he's so distraught he dives into the hunter's net and goes with it. He says, maybe being too attached is not a good thing. So wherever he sees, he's learning the lesson. I think that's the point. Wherever we see, there's some value in it. But that chapter is so poignant because it just emphasizes it. And then he met Pingala, which is the most interesting part of the story. And Pingala was a prostitute. And he's watching her. And Pingala's business wasn't doing very well. And eventually she realized there got to be a better way. And he learned, he says, whatever he saw, being a prostitute, a hunter, a python, everything was a lesson. And again, I'm sharing that with you because two reasons. One, that's what I'm currently reading in the Bhagavatam. Two, that's Mickey's favorite. And the one who translated that, Prabhupada had passed on before he did that section. So you met Hridayananda Maharaj Howard. He's the one that actually translated that. And when Mickey read his translation, that was in the 80s, he was so elated by it, he actually donated a computer in the days when there weren't many computers.
And they sing that every morning at like 6
Every
o'clock.
morning. And that's the story.
Yeah.
So it's the
very profound.
It's the filter story. The story of the filter. And I can show it to you here.
I have a question for you.
I have an answer. May not be a good answer, because I may be using the wrong filter.
It's about filters. That best filter is still a filter, so what's the risk of it? How do we get rid of even that filter?
Well, that is an astute question. And the answer is when we're in the filter, the highest level filter, known as goodness, or in Sanskrit, sattvic. When you're in that filter, one of the characteristics of that filter is you get knowledge. That's the filter that gives you the deepest knowledge from everything. Like the Avadhuta, he was in total goodness, so he saw everything. And so when that filter is not mixed with the lower filters, then you get knowledge right from within, and you know.
But it's still a filter though, so what's the pitfall of still having that filter? What's the risk?
Because it actually becomes totally transparent. It's just like if I would pick up various lenses, they may distort the light, they may color the light, but if you have just a perfect piece of glass, it's no longer a filter. It's just, you're seeing the same thing. So that filter becomes totally transparent, and then you actually see, as described in the Bhagavatam, the Lord within the heart. And that's another story where there was this young boy who's Dhruva, who his father was a good person who got very bewildered by his second wife. And the second wife, Dhruva was born of the first wife. So he he was denied sitting on his father's lap, if I remember correctly, because the second wife was very envious. And he approached the sage, what do I do? Go off into the woods and you will, Vishnu, the God, can help you. And he went off to get revenge. So that filter was very dark filter, you might say. And when he actually, just a little boy, but by his great sincerity, he actually met the Lord himself. And at that time he said, I was looking for pieces of broken glass and I found a diamond. And he gave up the revenge and vengeance. So he actually ended up with the clear filter. So, but that's a very astute question, because you're still filtering, but you're actually dropping the filter in essence. You're seeing your real essence. It becomes absolutely clear, and I've taken over as class accident.
Oh, no worries.
Sorry, when that information comes to you, how do you know for sure it's true? For me, it resonates at a very high level. For you, you know for sure that's your truth at that point in time.
How do you know that the
Yes,
truth is the truth?
yes.
What do you say, Shruti? How do you know the truth is the truth?
How do you know the truth is the truth? Let's see. Yeah, one, if it resonates, right? Or, well, I mean, in the practical, you do some research. You ask some other people, get some advice. Yeah.
But that doesn't work. I mean, let's look at a typical religion. I was raised as a Catholic. You have a codified document, the Bible. you have an institution that passes on knowledge, and
Yeah.
you have a functionary who interprets that. This priest is interpreting that book and telling you what that book says. But I don't believe it.
Well, the same question was asked by Arjuna. So you're coming from a good lineage of questions. And many times he doubted what his teacher was saying
Yes.
on that battlefield. He doubted it. And he asked to clear up my doubts. So to clear up the doubts, there's a system, the technical term would be hermeneutics. How do you understand these things, be it Christian hermeneutics or Jewish or Muslim or anything, it's always the same. That's the topic. So Bhaktivedanta goes into more detail than the Gita and gives an interesting hermeneutics, which I find satisfying. In America, we used to have a system of checks and balance, Congress, executive, and judicial. That's no longer.
Doesn't appear to be.
We used to have that system, and it worked very well until the 250th anniversary. One person was able to destroy it entirely. But we understand that system. I'm not mentioning names.
I know.
I didn't say any names, I didn't get overly political.
No,
But there's an airport in West Palm named after. Okay, so
Was the Kennedy Center too, but
not anymore. So the system is in Sanskrit called Guru Shastra Sadhu. So I mean, first thing is, we each have our mentors. It was the Catholic Church, the priest, the cardinal, the bishop. The second thing is, does it fit what the tradition says? Like there's always a scriptural tradition. And the third check is the various great leaders, past leaders' tradition, does it balance as a checks and balance system. So to give an example, let's say from the Catholic tradition, there are pronouncements in the Catholic tradition that came from the Council of Nicene, but you don't find it in the teachings of Jesus, who's
No.
a great teacher. So it failed the checks and balance system.
Yes.
There are the Southern Baptists just declared last week that women, you cannot be priests in the Southern Baptists. Why? Because you're women. They declared it by one verse in what's the book in the New Testament begins with an L? I just forgot the name.
Luke.
No, it wasn't Luke though. No, you're right, Luke does. I forget the name. One verse, I actually went, after I read it, looked up the verse and looked up the origin verse. There's one verse that says something that you can somehow interpret that way if you want to twist it a little bit. It wasn't very clear. One verse, one time, in a context. Then the question is that verse talking about a sociological issue at that time? Because women were never educated. Very few men were, and no women were. So saying, well, women shouldn't take the priesthood because they're not educated, which is fair to say if they're not educated, they want educated people there. Was it a sociological observation at that time, or was it a moral position forever? Reading in the context is obviously at best a sociological position, if that translation from the Aramaic is the accepted version, King James, and there's better translations. So it's questionable on two counts. But based on that, they did it. So that flunks the test of this threefold test. It absolutely flunked it. So fanaticals use a one-fold test. Intelligent people try to go for a two-fold. Deep spirituals use a threefold test. So to answer your question, there is a way. But it requires, when Prabhupada was asked this question, something like this, it's a very similar question he asked. He said, it requires a little intelligence. Don't be stupid. Don't take things just on face value. One time Prabhupada said one of the most important sayings he ever said. And that was, if somebody tells you Prabhupada says, don't believe it. Because people just quote out of context.
Yeah.
And, maybe it was circumstantial, maybe he didn't say it. Don't go by just something somebody said that was said, which is exactly what the Council of Nicene did.
We just had that discussion this morning. We were driving through Paynes Ferry, and we were talking about love bugs, and this fellow we know said, oh, University of Florida created them. I said, no, that's a myth. And I actually had to look it up and prove that it's a myth. University of Florida did not create love bugs.
I mean, Dr. Fauci created the pandemic. And that just some wingnut representative in Congress just, it wasn't a wingnut representative, it was Tulsi Gabbard just did a podcast saying
If you
Fauci
say
did
it long
that.
enough and loud enough, people will believe it.
Well, that's what Goebbels said.
And it worked.
And we're,
The more often you say it,
Yeah.
And the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it. And so Fauci created it. What was it? My cousin who believes every conspiracy theory, it was just that another disease, AIDS was just created by a lab, a US Army lab that went astray. But the people believe these things.
Wasn't it the Chinese?
Well, pretty bad. Whatever group wanted to get rid of the gay population must have created this bug. So the thing is, it's not, it may be, this method may be simple, this threefold method. I assure you it's not easy.
I understand.
It's not easy, it requires hard work. But it's simple. Just describe it in a few minutes, but not easy. That's the end of the work. Because to have doubts is either good or bad. To have no doubts is bad, because then you're just a blind follower. To doubt everything, then you're really in trouble. You can't get a haircut, because you can't trust that the barber's not gonna slice your neck. Now, fortunately, that's not a problem for me. But for others, that may be a problem. You go, will he slice my neck or not? Because it's happened before.
You might shave your head and cut your neck.
Yeah, but to be doubt everything is somewhat dangerous, because I doubt at every red light that the guy coming the other way is going to stop. And
That's why we
Gainesville
look left and right before we go, exactly.
It's terribly bad here.
Yeah.
And we're putting up red light cameras now to deal with that. They put up one red light camera in a school zone, slowing down, and I think the first week there were 500 violations.
no way. Wow.
So, I doubt people are gonna be cooperative there. That's reasonable, but to doubt everything will lead to madness. So everything we do has a certain amount of faith. So where do we put our faith? Well, we put our faith by building up trust. So Prabhupada said to me, you have a little faith, that's good, because now you'll listen. And by listening, because you don't have faith, if you didn't have faith, then you'd learn something, you wouldn't be here. If I didn't have faith, I'd learn something, I wouldn't be here, but I'm here because I learned something. So that little bit of faith starts, but that faith is better if it's dealt with a little bit of doubt.
Yes.
Or maybe even a lot of doubt. Okay, I'm sorry,
It's all right,
I
bro.
took away
I
your
just had
class time
I
here.
just had a thought.
Apologize.
No worries. I had a thought on when you mentioned the Catholic priest. I was thinking. I remember hearing this analogy before that if somebody in a desert comes to you and says, "I know where where water is," and you're like, "How do you know if it's a mirage?" So you would know if the person telling you is thirsty or not. If the person's thirsty, then it's a mirage. But yeah, it's in spiritual life. It's like the person who's telling you what the truth is. Like, well, how do they lead their life? Do they have the filter of goodness? Do they have all those qualities of the Gita talks about? People have qualities and more of goodness, truthfulness, cleanliness, and so many other qualities. Like, do they walk their talk? So that's like for me, it's like, do they really are able to walk the talk and show that they're working towards loving God more and more. Yeah, because especially in religion, the more dogmatic somebody is, the more many times they're filled with hate so much more than love. It's like it doesn't make any sense. Why should I really follow you? That standard benchmark according to Bhakti text is like any knowledge that's coming from a religious mentor, whoever, it should help you get closer to God and increase your love for Him and others. If it doesn't do that, then that means this person is still thirsty and he's just diving into the mirage.
And that was always the problem I had with the Indian gurus when I was younger. They had large entourages, some of them had fleets of Rolls Royces and whatever.
Oh, you had 60 of them, Rajesh.
Yeah, and when I see that, that's not the person I want to follow. I want to follow that very humble person, that person that doesn't need notoriety.
Rajneesh was from the town Pune. When he went back to India, they stoned him.
Oh, really?
Because the local people were so upset because they knew a phony. And there was another one who came, and he came in the 70s. And I went to hear him speak one time. He came here when he was 14, a little chubby boy. And he spoke the Gita very well. I said, "Why, that sounds Gita." Then at the end, he goes, "And by the way, I'm God," which if he's God, we got a problem. So later on, I met a dear friend who worked at the same company, Indian man who was from his village. And the Indian man eventually became a Krishna devotee. And he told me, growing up, that whole family we call them carnies, carnival people. And there was a simple yoga technique, which you rub your eyeball, you get white flashes. And you do it right now, you rub your eyeball, you get white. So he made that technique sophisticated, and people would come to him, and he'd rub their eyeballs, and they get these flashes. He said, "Now you've seen the white light." I'm not kidding. And he spoke the Gita well, very well. And he did this technique, and he had a huge following. Huge following, then, there's still some followers of his here and there, but it faded away. Then there was another guru in India. And this one, he had this ability, some mystic power, sometimes you have it, where he can make things appear, ashes, things appear. And he knew the Gita very, very well. He could speak the Gita like anybody, any good scholar could. And I was in New Delhi in 1971. And I wasn't a Christian at all, but I saw somebody who looked like me, 22 years old and clean cut. And the only people you ever met then, white people in India then were hippies, my age. And he was clean cut, and the Peace Corps made us cut all our hair before going. So I was in New Delhi getting my Hindi training. I saw him, so I said, "Well, hi, let's go have lunch." So we had lunch. Why are you here? "Well, I'm here on a spiritual journey. I want to understand the Gita." I said, "That's why I went to India. I want to understand the Gita." "That's great. And what have you done?" "Well, I met a guru. He can make things mystically appear." I said, "That's really cool. later on I realized that felt so cool. But, but at that point I thought, that was so cool. And he knows the Gita inside out. And tell me more. I become his personal secretary. I said, wow, this is fantastic. That's why I'm here. And wait, what are you doing in New Delhi? He lives in South India. Well, I'm going home. Well, why are you going home? This is why you came. You have the perfection, everything's fine. Then he said something to me that was shocking. Later on, the BBC did an expose after this so-called guru died, and it came out that what this guy told me was absolutely true. And he said, I got tired of him reaching into my pants.
Jeez.
And he was leaving. So the question is, it's like the old saying, you don't know who the players are without the scorecard. So everyone should be a little skeptical because this is a common problem. Has to be a little skeptical. At the same time, we don't want to be radically skeptical, otherwise we go a little mad. So getting that fine, we might say Buddhist balance of the middle road, that's the spiritual challenge. I'm sorry for my long-winded answer to your question.
And I'm sorry we're digressing on
No worries.
your
That's
lecture.
great.
But
It's
every
good to have this.
religion has very spiritual people, okay?
Everyone I met, yeah.
And it's not the religion, it seems they transcend the religion and become spiritual. I think they use the religion as the premise to become spiritual, but they become spiritual almost like a monk would become spiritual.
Prabhupada's own spiritual master said religion can be the enemy of spirituality.
I agree.
Yeah.
He said it admirably. At the same time, he set up a religious structure because we need an envelope to live in. One of my friends is, now he's a professor at Harvard Divinity. He's also a Jesuit priest. This is a very special endowed chair. And when the prior person in the chair retired, they didn't even do a search. They asked Frank Clooney, will you take that job? He's so good. And he's a Jesuit priest, and even a vegetarian, which is unusual. And he gets a very good paycheck and gives it to the diocese. And he's a very brilliant scholar. So the reason why I know he's a deep spiritualist is because when he meets people who are like one of his best friends, some of his best friends are Krishna monks and other religions. He respects the spirituality in everyone. They don't have to be Catholic. And he never tries to make someone Catholic. He said, this is my home, I'm very comfortable here, but he sees the spirituality in everyone else. I certainly see it in him. I love his company.
And we always have the saying, there's many paths to get up to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, I'm gonna add one thing to that. There are some paths that go down to.
That's true.
It's the wrong path.
Yeah, there are other paths. And then there are some paths that are very winding.
They
and
take
some
a
paths are
long ways to get
more
there.
direct.
Yes.
So a lot of paths. So, but there's more than one good path.
Yes.
I say it that way. Because sometimes this one Indian, it was a prominent Indian guru from about 120 years ago. He kind of made a saying, not the exact saying, but all paths take you there. And I said, I don't believe that. I mean, some paths go elsewhere. I mean, you have some, you have people like Hitler who claim to be a Lutheran, or Trump who claim to be this, and other people in the name of religion. Those paths are not, I don't see them as religious people.
There are experiences those people need to have. And we look at things through our lens of this short lifetime, but if we look over thousands and thousands of lifetimes, they needed to have things. From my belief,
I agree with you.
there is no good nor bad from God's perspective. We would think it's hideous crimes that are committed, but they're things that needed to happen.
It's a correct analysis. It did, I mean, because the one weakness that Christianity has had, and that weakness did not exist before the Council of Nicene. The biggest weakness is they cannot understand theodicy, the source of evil. If God is all good, why is there evil? And the reason they can't understand it is because they have eliminated karma and reincarnation. And we each have our own path, we've created it, if we have free will, we have free will.
And you know, I have an obsession for early Christianity. Most early Christians believed in reincarnation.
I listen every week without fail to Bert Ehrman's podcast. He's a just retired professor of North Carolina, many New York Times bestsellers, the best scholar of early Christianity I know. And he was an evangelistic Christian, Moody Bible College, went to Princeton Theological, and then realized there's many contradictions in the text. Mark doesn't say what Luke said, which is very different than what John says at times. And he says it's not all gospel and something's wrong, but that didn't push him over. What pushed him over was theodicy. How can such a good God, let somebody jerks around me? And that pushed him over because he didn't understand karma and reincarnation.
I used to sit with the priest when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Nun was always sending me to the priest. I said, I have all these opportunities. Some kid raised in Nazi Germany is sent off to fight a war. He's 12 years old. He gets shot. He didn't have the opportunities I had, so how can it be fair?
Yeah.
And he said, you need to go visit other churches.
Good priest.
And here you are.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good priest, actually.
Was that because he thought you would learn something or he wanted to get rid of you?
I think he wanted to get rid of me.
Oh,
I always question about the other people too. You know, Adam and Eve, they went off with the others.
yeah. How did Adam and Eve fall if in the beginning all was good? I mean, there's contradictions. Paradoxes are very helpful for learning.
Yeah.
Contradictions are another matter. So what's a paradox? That's another
We're
topic.
taking his.
It's just discussion. But one thought was, Prabhupada was skeptical of religious people actually. And when his friend told him about this guru, his guru, who eventually became his guru, Prabhupada was like, I've seen all those religious people, because his father used to have religious people at home.
Yeah, very
He was very
skeptical.
skeptical.
He was brought up in a very pious family, but I don't want even another guru. They just blah, 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 blah. Then he went to hear him, and it wasn't blah, blah, blah. And the first thing his guru said to him, he understood Prabhupada spoke very good English. He said, you should go to the Western world. Prabhupada was like 25 years old, couldn't even think of such a thing. He was a Gandhi man. What good can we do in India till we get rid of the British? And his guru said, that's not really the issue. Because you'll be enslaved a different way, by your mind. What's next?
It's time.
Time for
I'm
snacks.
sorry.
No, that's
I'm sure
okay.
just let me go on.
That's okay. But the conversation can
Yes,
continue
that's
over prasadam.
Let's do that.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
very
much
much,
for
Srutisagara.
No, how did my comment in that way require this done?
Totally.
That's all right.
Question.
Totally.